Welcome into SportBet Extra. I'm your host, Paul Rami, here every Tuesday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Later start today. Again, we had a scheduling conflict, pushed it back an hour. So here we are. We're going to try and get through everything in maybe 30 minutes, 45 minutes. We got a lot to talk about today, Saturday, Sunday, college football, conference championship games. NFL last night, huge weekend coming up for the NFL as well. College basketball, full force, big slate to talk about. NBA as well. I mean, just a packed show. So let's get right into it. As we do to begin every show, we'll put up that overall record to show you where we are at. Last night, 1-2. We only had 3 plays. I talked a little bit about 1 or 2 of those plays maybe here on the video on the live that we did. So Timberwolves minus 11.5. That was our NBA betting strategy play last night. Unfortunately, that one does get a loss. So the NBA betting strategy moves to 72%, 8-3 overall there. It looks like, man, that was close. That was close late. It was close all game. Then Timberwolves pulled away in the fourth quarter with like 5 minutes to go. They were up by about 14. And it was one of those like, man, are they going to actually get it done here? Is New Orleans going to collapse late? Unfortunately, New Orleans hung around and ended, I think, right on that 8 or 9 number, somewhere around there. So Timberwolves do not get that cover last night against the Pelicans. Cowboys plus 3.5. Obviously, terrible read there. Cowboys were no good. And, I'm not one to really say, oh, that rigged, refs did it, all that. That's not the angle I usually ever take. It's one of those, just look, I was on the wrong side. But how do you call that offensive pass interference? Even the commentators, everyone was confused on how is that offensive pass interference in such a critical moment like that last night on a third down. That could have given them first and goal right there had it been, defensive pass interference, which is what it looked like it was. But it goes the other way. It was one of those, man, just kind of suspicious calls. Like, how do you do that? But you know what? We're on the wrong side. It is what it is. We take the loss there. Just kind of a confusing call. That's all. So Cowboys plus 3.5 was no good. Cal Poly money line in college basketball. They went outright there. Small underdog. They were 1.5 point underdog. We had them on the money line. Excuse me there. So Cal Poly money line was a winner. So 1-2. So back up. Let me put that back up one more time. 58% so far on where we've been on the show. Plus 21.44 units. So NBA 19-9. College basketball 50-35. NFL 11-10. And then college football should be 6-11-1 there. Again, MLB 3-0. So there's where we're at since October 21st. December has gotten off to a slow start. Not a big deal. 4 days in, we're on the 5th day here. We'll pick it up and just continue to roll. Let's talk college football. Looking at tonight, right? Couple critical games. Troy, JMU, and that Sun Belt Championship. Of course, JMU laying the huge number here, minus 23.5. They should have no issue handling Troy. I mean, defensively, they're a good team. I don't see how Troy's going to move the ball at all. They really force teams to just struggle, whether that's in the passing game or the run game. I mean, they're very good defensively. Only allowing 84.7 rush yards per game. And then on the passing side, allowing 153.8 passing yards per game. I mean, defensively, like I said, they're just very tough. Now, Troy, they do love to throw the ball. Just, again, I'm not sure if they're going to have any success here against JMU. So I'm not going to have any play on either side or any total on this one here. I would just assume James Madison's going to win this one, win the Sun Belt, and then wait to see what happens with Virginia there in the ACC championship game. Also tonight, North Texas and Tulane. North Texas, a small favorite, -2.5. Both teams we know they're explosive offensively. North Texas a little more than Tulane there. But North Texas has not played anybody. I mean, when you look at the one competent opponent they played, that was what, USF, and they got blown out. I mean, Tulane to me is a little bit more battle tested, playing teams like Duke and Ole Miss earlier in the season. However, what worries me about Tulane is QB, Rhett's left there. He's not really being a threat in the passing game. Only 14 touchdowns on the season that he's thrown, to go with 6 interceptions. That's nothing to write home about. I would trust North Texas's, Drew Mestmaker there a bit more, as he's not as one-dimensional and he can throw the ball extremely well. He can get out of the pocket. He can run when needed. It makes sense why Tulane is this -2.5 point favorite. I'm sorry, North Texas. I think it is a spot for North Texas to get the win here and cover that -2.5. I would lean North Texas for this game tonight. Let's look at what we've got for college football on Saturday. Huge day Saturday, starting at 11 a.m. BYU at Texas Tech there, again for the Big 12 championship. Texas Tech laying the 12.5, almost similar to what they laid last time. That total at 49.5. Again, last time these two played, we were on the under. I talked about how Texas is just going to dominate BYU defensively. They did not let Bear get anything going for BYU, and I don't see why anything changes this game. In the NBA, other sports, NFL, it's different, right? These coaches, these teams, they learn, they adjust. In college football, it's not like that. It's just one of those things where, yeah, maybe they'll try and change something. BYU, they'll try and do something differently, but just Texas Tech is just going to be too good defensively. And then just looking at, Texas Tech injuries wise, Baron Morton, should be good. He's probable. I mean, I don't see anything that is concerning injury wise. Nothing on BYU side, really. Nothing on, Texas Tech side where it's something that's going to make a big difference. I would lean Texas Tech here. I don't know if they win by that big number, though. It does feel like BYU is going to try and do something different, maybe get a cover here late on that 12.5. So I don't know if I would lean on that, because BYU knows this is their only chance. If they're going to get into the playoff, they've got to beat Texas Tech to win the Big 12 championship. So you can expect them to come a little bit more motivated than they were last time that they played. But again, I just don't know if it's going to be enough. Maybe for the cover, maybe for the 12.5, but not for the win. I would lean BYU to cover, though, 12.5 there. Following that one, you've got Georgia, Alabama, number 3 Georgia, number 9 Alabama. Georgia laying the small 2.5 there. This one taking place at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So the BYU Texas Tech game, that one is actually taking place there at AT&T Stadium in Dallas. This one, the SEC Championship, Mercedes-Benz Stadium there in Atlanta, Georgia. So Georgia, slight home field advantage if you want to go that route. Georgia's in no matter what. Alabama's got to win this game, because if they lose, then you start to have that conversation. Does Miami get in over Alabama? Does Texas get in over Alabama? This is one of those where those rumors are just swirling around Alabama's locker room, and that's something that they know they've got to do, is give it their all this game. Now, I'm trying to update and see what's going on with Jam Miller, because, of course, for Alabama, he's going to be a huge part of what they do. He is still listed as questionable here. I'm sure he's going to give it a go for this game against Georgia. I would personally lean Alabama to win here. I just think, again, it's one of those spots. Georgia, yeah, of course they would love to win. but they're in. They already lost once this year to Alabama, 24-21. I'm sure they're not going to want to lose again, but if they lose this one, it's not going to really affect them much. They'll still be in the college football playoff. They just won't have that number 3 locked up if they do lose here. So I would lean Alabama to actually win again here against Georgia this season. They're on the money line plus 115. Alabama, I just think, is going to be too much offensively for Georgia. I know defensively, Georgia can really slow the ball on the run game. But again, I just think Jam Miller's going to find ways. He's going to find room to run, and Alabama is going to win here. On to the Big Ten Championship, Indiana, Ohio State. Not going to spend much time on this one. Number 2, Indiana. Number 1, Ohio State. Doesn't matter who wins this one. They're still going to be up there, ranked number 1 and 2. This is one of those where, hey, let's just get out of this and not get injured. So if you just take Indiana plus 4.5, that's fine. If Ohio State wins it by more, sure. But again, this is one of those, both teams just want to get in and out, no injuries. Let's get to the college football playoff. We're both in. So I wouldn't have a play on this one. There's no telling who's really going to care for this game. Last to look at, Saturday night, ACC Championship, Duke and Virginia there. Virginia laying the small minus 4.5. It kind of feels like with all the stuff going on, with all the chaos that they've been talking about, Duke can get this win. Now, looking at Virginia, of course, a lot of injuries. Just scrolling through right now. Want to see what we've got. There's a long list of injuries for Virginia. Who's that? Camera? I don't know if he's going to be going. Cameras, he's questionable. So this is one of those games where I would just lean Duke here, and just because it's more of like a spot call. I mean, last 2 games, they beat Wake Forest, they beat North Carolina. They lost to Virginia already before that, 34-17. So is this one of those spots where they bounce back? They kind of realize what they did wrong against Virginia. Again, I talked about coaching here and these teams. Yeah, it's different than the NBA. They may not have as much success. They really struggled running the ball that game against Virginia. They're probably going to struggle here again. They're going to have to just lean towards the passing game. But I'd expect them to try and avoid a little bit more of those sacks. Virginia had 4 sacks on them last game. I'd expect them to maybe focus on getting out of the pocket more, getting that ball out early and avoiding the sacks. I like Duke here for this game, plus 4.5. That's what we've got for college football. Wild to see what's going to happen. We have no idea what's going to go on. We'll have, though, once Saturday is finished, a better understanding of what the CFP is going to look like for that. And then once we do get that final CFP bracket, we're going to discuss what our future bet will be on who we're going to be leaning. And I've talked about already. I'm kind of leaning Texas Tech. I'm leaning Indiana as teams to win it all. Maybe Alabama, just depending where they're at. So we'll see how that plays out. On to the NFL. Let's talk a little bit NFL. We'll run through these games quickly. Steelers at Ravens. Ravens laying the 5.5 there. It's one of those, Steelers coming off that awful loss against the Bills there. I would think it's kind of a bounce back spot maybe for the Steelers here. But the Ravens as well, both teams, 6-6. You really don't know what you're going to get, because that was a poor performance that the Ravens had against the Bengals. Both teams 6-6. Again, it can go either way. Divisional game like this, I would be on the points. I would be on the 5.5 with the Steelers, just because these two historically play very tough each other and they play close. So I would be on probably the Steelers for this one. Seahawks at the Falcons. Seahawks laying the touchdown. Again, we talked about Seahawks whenever they played. When was that? The Titans, that game, going to the East Coast. they win, but they don't win big, right? They won by, what was it, 6 there. Titans covered that number. Now you're getting a 7 for Atlanta. Atlanta looks a little bit better with Kirk Cousins there. They look a little bit more in control. We know they're solid defensively. Again, you've got Seattle traveling again all the way to the East Coast. Have Colts next week on deck. I would lean Atlanta here. Just really focus on the run game for them. Get Bijan Robinson more involved here, and just really try and get short passes, short slants. There's no reason for Kirk Cousins to go deep down the field. I would lean Atlanta here with the points +7 at home. Titans at Browns. Interesting news with Deshaun Watson right now. Possibility of him ever, returning and coming back. They paid Deshaun Watson all that money. So what are you going to do? You got to give him something, right? So just keeping that in mind too. He's nearing his return, as they designated him from that reserve pup list on Wednesday. So that could be something in the future, depending what Sanders does here with Cleveland. Now, Cleveland laying the 4 here against Tennessee. Again, Tennessee, there's nothing exciting about them. I would lean Cleveland just because of their defense and their run game. I would lean Cleveland here to win and cover the -4. Next one, Dolphins, Jets. Dolphins a slight favorite on the road. Again, Jets 3-point favorites, just like they were last week at home. We had Jets +3, and this is another one. I would probably be right back on it there. The Jets, they won outright against the Falcons last week. I would be on the Jets here again this week at the +3. As long as Tyrod Taylor is there, they are a much better team that can really manage the offense. Whenever you have Tyrod Taylor, that defense is very strong. So I would lean Jets again, +3 there at home, maybe on the money line again. Saints at Bucks. Bucks laying the big number, -8 there at home. Saints, again, we know they're just not. This season's already done, so they're going to try and find out what they've got in their guys, right? Like Tyler Shugg, Devin Neal, even maybe have him going more this week to see if he's a solid running back. If Alvin Kamara can't go, he's remaining sidelined at practice, so we'll probably see him some more. Devin Neal, man, who remembers that guy? I think it was Kansas. Devin Neal was out of Kansas, if I can remember correctly. Yeah, he was out of Kansas. Yep. Yeah, good old Devin Neal. That's right, 6th round. So Saints, they've got solid guys, prospects potentially coming up, but Bucks here -8. I would lean that, especially if you've got now Bucky Irving. He's back. May have Mike Evans back. I know last reports were that he was limited in practice. He's going to look to return. If you've got Mike Evans back, Bucky Irving's back, kind of the band back together since the beginning of the season, this Bucks team is tough. So I would lean them here with the 8 and just to win and cover that big number there. Colts at Jags. Colts laying the small number there, -1.5. Yeah, I don't agree with that. I do think the Jags are better than what the books are giving them credit for. They're unfortunately one of those teams that really just kind of you don't know what you're going to get with them either. They've got great wins. They've got great losses as well. So it's like, which team is going to show up? Ever since the bye week, they've gone 4-1. They only lost there to the Texans, but again, they haven't played anybody. They played the Raiders. They beat the Chargers, which was a nice win. Beat the Cardinals and the Titans. This is really their next kind of toughest test since the Texans, which they lost. The Colts coming off 2 losses. Really the one against the Chiefs, that was a tough one. The one against the Texans. They're going to be up for this game, the Colts. It feels like, though, they're going to get let down here. It's just one of those that it's like, man, I think the Jags win this one outright. And then now the whole high that the Indianapolis fan base and the Colts were on to start the season just comes kind of crashing down there. So I'd be on Jags here for this game. Commanders at Vikings. Vikings laying the small number here, -1.5. Commanders showed something last week against the Broncos. That team just can't win. But neither can the Vikings. Nothing gets me excited about the Vikings and what they're doing. I mean, J.J. McCarthy, sure, he'll probably be back, but he just doesn't look that good. I would just completely be off this game, maybe an under. I just don't know how these offenses really get anything going. That total is about a 42.5. I would probably just lean under on that one there. Bengals at the Bills next. Bengals road underdog there, +5.5. Bills, again, last week had that win against the Steelers. Bills are still one of those teams where, as long as you have Josh Allen, you're always going to be in it. I mean, you're 8-4. It looks like the Patriots probably have that division locked up, but we've seen crazier things here. If somehow Bills just run the table, they do beat the Patriots. If they do beat the Patriots when they go to New England and play there as well next week, then you're kind of looking like, oh man, is this the Bills team that we've been waiting on? So we'll see what happens this week with Joe Burrow back. Again, that Ravens or Bengals team is completely different. I do like the Bengals here to get the cover against Buffalo with that 5.5. That's that weird number. It's not on 6, not on 7. It's right at that 5.5 number. I would lean Bengals here, but I don't know if I'd be on it. That's just kind of a lean for me. Broncos at the Raiders. Raiders 7.5-point underdogs at home. Again, I'm not going to touch any of the games with the Broncos till maybe playoff time. We've got that ticket. Let me see if I can actually, again, pull that ticket up that we do have with the Broncos here. Again, that's a 22-1 ticket that we've got on the Broncos to win the Super Bowl. So we're going to just keep riding with that one. That's one that, a game like this, I'm not going to lay the 7.5 with Denver. I'm just going to watch, hope they get the win, get out of here, and get into next week. Again, this is the main focus for us here with the Broncos as we look at that game. Again, I'll watch it, but it feels like a spot they could slip up. It's just one of those, man. You had that win against the Commanders, a scary game. Like, come on, let's try and get it together, and then somehow slip up against the Raiders. So I'll be off that one. Next one, Bears at Packers. Again, these are afternoon games that we've gotten into with the Broncos Raiders. Now Bears Packers. The Packers, what to say about them? They're a good team. The Bears are surprising 9-3. This is a very critical game, divisional game. I initially was leaning Packers here, but it just feels like one of those kind of divisional games where it can be a sloppy game, and at the end of it, you're like, how did this team just pull this off, or whatever it was, whether it's Packers winning by 20 or the Bears winning outright. Who knows? I could see both of those happening. So I'll be off of this one. I don't have a lean either way on the side. It's just kind of tough because you don't know what you're going to get from them. Rams at Cardinals. Rams, you would expect to bounce back here after that loss against Carolina last week. Laying the big number, 8.5. I would lay that. I don't know about the Cardinals. It's just, their season's done. They keep it close the last 2 games, sure, but eventually that's going to wear down, and they're just not going to show up. And I think this is a game that they don't show up. So I would lean the Rams here, -8.5. Sunday night game, Texans at the Chiefs. Texans 3.5-point underdogs. The Texans are starting to streak. If you like them to win the Super Bowl, I would take it now, because if they do go on to beat the Chiefs, you're going to get worse odds. I do like the Texans in this spot. The Chiefs, it's just they're 6-6. It's really a make it or break it game for them. Off that loss against the Cowboys, man, you'd expect them to come home. And that's the thing. Everyone's going to be on Kansas City. You expect them, once they lose on the road there to Cowboys, Thanksgiving, come home. Oh, now they got the Texans laying a small number, 3.5. Yeah, give me the Chiefs. I'd be careful with that. I'd be on the Texans here at the plus 3.5. It just feels like a spot where everyone's going to be on Kansas City. Everyone's going to expect a bounce back, but somehow the Texans pull it off, even win outright. Monday night game, Eagles-Chargers. Eagles laying a small number, minus 2.5. Again, I'm not big on the Eagles. I'm going to be leaning Chargers here. I'm still not sure on the status of Justin Herbert. I know he was limited participant on Thursday, so we don't know really what's going on with him. But Trey Lance, man, he's a good backup. He never really got, I feel like, that opportunity to really show what he can do. If Justin Herbert doesn't go, I would still lean Chargers here, even if Trey Lance was the one that they had going. So for me, it's Chargers on Monday night. That's NFL. Just kind of quick, wanted to touch on the NFL shortly before we got into college basketball and our action for tonight. So as we scroll into tonight's games for college basketball, of course, one of the first ones that stands out, Gonzaga at Kentucky. Huge game here. Music City Madness taking place in Nashville. Number 11 Gonzaga laying the 5.5 here. I've talked about Gonzaga on the show. I'm big on Gonzaga this year. We saw that spot against Michigan. That was one of those where I was on Michigan for that one, just because it felt like a letdown here, and Michigan had really been playing tough. Bounce back spot coming now for Gonzaga. I would say so. I know Kentucky just lost there against North Carolina. I think Gonzaga gets it together. They put all the pieces back where they need to be, and they get back to their winning ways, and they win and cover that 5.5 there against Kentucky. Neutral site game. Again, I'm leaning Gonzaga here minus 5.5. Looking at the rest of the games tonight, I mean, we just can scroll through. East Texas A&M at UConn. Yeah, blowout there. UConn 38.5-point favorite. I would just lay that. Nothing else really exciting for today in college basketball. Saturday, quite a few matchups. I mean, you've got number 4 Duke and number 7 Michigan State there. I've been high on Michigan State. I would continue to take Michigan State here. I know both teams undefeated. Duke 9-0, Michigan State 8-0. I would lean Michigan State. Duke's only laying that small 1.5 number. I would take Michigan State here, money line. They just defensively, they are a good, solid rebounding team. I know Duke is as well. I just feel like Michigan State with Tom Izzo, coaching advantage is going to go that way. They're going to have a game plan for Boozer and what he's been doing offensively, scoring-wise, rebounding-wise. I feel like Michigan State's going to have that game plan. Be ready for them. I would lean Michigan State here early Saturday, 11 a.m. on the money line. Another one that's interesting, starting early, same time, number 10 Iowa State at Purdue. Purdue, number 1 ranked team, laying 4.5 here. Both teams 8-0. So, right, another one of these games, something's got to give. Iowa State defensively is very solid. But Purdue, man, if you just watch them, they click so well, that team. Braden Smith, Kaufman-Wren, like all these guys just really just play well together. Fletcher Lawyer obviously can shoot the ball. Oscar Clough looks good on the inside there as their big man. I'd lean Purdue here, laying that 4.5. Even though Iowa State is very tough defensively, I just feel like Purdue will have no problem breaking any sort of pressure, any sort of zone that Iowa State is going to throw their way. I would lean that way for Purdue. Number 6, Louisville at number 22, Indiana. I was on Indiana 2 days ago. Wasn't a good call there. Louisville, I talked about them. I expected them to beat Arkansas. They didn't. So now you get two teams fresh off their first loss of the season. What are you going to get in that scenario? I don't know. I will not be on this one. This is going to be one that I'm just watching. I don't see the line out yet currently for this one, but this will be definitely a fun one to watch. Louisville and Indiana. Really don't have much on that one except maybe an over, as I see a lot of scoring going on this game. As we look at the rest of Saturday's games, a couple of them that kind of stood out. Seton Hall, Kansas State is going to be interesting. Seton Hall there 8-1. Going on the road to take Kansas State 5-3. I like Seton Hall. They're very good, very solid defensively. I would lean them once that number is out. And then Washington at USC, another fun one to watch there. Washington should be good. Hans Steinbach should be good from injury. Bryson Tucker, he is a game-time decision, so we're waiting to see what's going to happen with him. I'm expecting he's not going to go. And for USC, want to double check, see if there's any injuries there that we need to be concerned with. Rodney Rice, he was out Tuesday against Seton Hall. So, yeah, maybe one to look at there. But we'll have to keep an eye on Rodney Rice, see what's going on with him. And see if USC can get it done here against Washington. Could be a spot that Washington just kind of wins one here, as USC might fall asleep against them. 14 Illinois and number 13 Tennessee. I'm not quite sure what to make of either of these teams recently. Tennessee now 2 straight losses against Kansas and now Syracuse. Are they starting to fall into a slump? And Illinois as well. I mean, you lost to Alabama, you lost to UConn. And now you're getting another tough team. We've seen, what Illinois, now that they're facing tough competition, they're struggling. I've talked about Texas Tech not being that good of a team, but obviously they played Alabama, played UConn, they lost those games. It feels like one of those where, Tennessee, this is going to be more a game for them. I think defensively they'll be able to just control the game. They'll run at their slow pace that they want to run at. They're going to just really be too much zone-wise. I don't think they're going to let Stojakovic with Illinois do what he wants to do. I would lean Tennessee for this game, whatever that number is. I don't see it here in front of me. Last one I want to talk about real quick, just briefly, is number 20, Auburn, number 2, Arizona. Arizona laying a 7.5, big number here. Auburn, I am not big on Auburn. I just don't see it with this team. That big loss to Michigan. Yeah, they had a great win against St. John's there. Just something about this team I'm not sold on. I don't know if it's maybe just because rebounding. They're not a good rebounding team. Sure, they don't turn the ball over, but defensively, they're not that great defensively. I feel like Arizona, that's going to be one of their strong suits that they're going to take advantage of, is just putting that pressure on Auburn and really forcing those turnovers. We know Arizona, they can rebound the ball. So if Auburn has a bad shooting night, we can expect Arizona just to really dominate that game, maybe win and cover there. That's 7.5 on Saturday. Let's look at today's games and see what the play is going to be for today. And that's going to be back at the Gonzaga-Kentucky game. Again, we're going to go to ProfitX, see what the current odds are for this game, because as we promised at the end of every show, we're going to give our free play of the day. That's going to be on Gonzaga. So let's pull up college basketball, find that line. Gonzaga down to a -5 now, -104. So we're going to take Gonzaga -5, -104. That's going to be the free play of the day. Again, go to sportbetextra.com. That's where you're going to get the free play posted, as well as all the other member plays. You'll get them for today. Saturday morning, those will come out for Saturday. Sunday morning, those will come out for Sunday. And Monday morning. Those will come out for Monday as well. Tuesday through Friday, plays come out after the show. So go take a look here within the next 30 minutes. Plays will be out. SportBetExtra.com. Go get your free 7-day trial. And then from there, if you want to continue, you've got weekly, monthly, 3-month packages as well. Good luck today. Let's go Gonzaga -5. And have a great weekend. I will see you guys on Tuesday.